I heard this really emotional audio from someone on Shopify. They had a conference call and they played this little audio tape, this audio recording of a customer service call they got from a farmer from somewhere rural in the U.S. And she was just saying, "Hey, thanks for being around and helping me create my Shopify site." And then she just started crying, saying, like, I wouldn't know what I'd do if I couldn't sell online. Like, thank God I could get my stuff online. So
Yeah,
so that was like that was pretty heavy, but I mean, you're probably feeling like happy with the decision of founding an e-commerce site, right? I mean, how's that going so far?
yeah. Happy is that's a fine word for it. I would say, even for ecom, it's been difficult, but we're grateful that we don't have bricks and mortar right now. I feel very, very strongly that it's never been easier because of platforms like Shopify to start an e-commerce website. I think that it follows kind of the frontier that we saw with YouTube 10 years ago,
Hmm.
when it became very easy to become a content creator.
Hmm.
I think that is now flattened as well into business. And I think that's been fascinating. What's really interesting to me, though, is, we've slowly been making the transition in globally to e-commerce. Uh, but e-commerce was at a really interesting, especially in retail, inflection point right before coronavirus.
Huh, okay.
Commerce businesses or some of them were struggling, and I think people were starting to dive into why, and then COVID hit. So I think there's this immense reshuffling that's happening right now that I
Yeah.
actually think is going to be very positive in the long haul.
Yeah, I mean, especially for e-commerce, because I think it's like there's this really funny infographic I saw recently. I think it was on LinkedIn, where the question was, "What spurred your digital transformation?" Number one, CEO. Number two, CTO. Number three, COVID. And, I mean, like you just had to get online now, right? But listen, I think people are also kind of tired of hearing this about the virus and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that we don't get too much into it.
Yeah.
What I'd really like to get into more is that tell us about Dale. Tell us about you, why you started Dale. I think obviously that's a really cool story behind it.
Yeah, sure. So Dayal is the business I wish I had started 6 years ago. But we came to it honestly. I had started a company that's still the parent company of Dayal, called Thread.
Mhm.
And Thread, for me, started after the earthquake in Haiti way back in 2010. So I had gone down there. I was in television production and marketing, and my initial impetus for going to Haiti after the earthquake was to take pictures of what was going on and then share them with people. And what I saw was kind of really mind blowing for me and changed my life and put me on the track that now is where we are with the business. Because I had no experience really with nonprofits, and I had seen a system of nonprofits in Haiti that are maybe more dense than just about anywhere else on the planet, and they were largely ineffective at doing the thing that people actually needed in order to bring their society and their culture forward, which is, helping to create good, dignified jobs. So I came to business through a lens of society, and really said, like, how do I put my friends back to work? Because I'd been there now for working there on and off for over 2 years, and all my friends kept asking me, we love the aid, we love the handouts, we love the immunizations, we love the water, but like honestly, we don't need it. We'd rather just go to work every day. And so I started trying to figure out, how can I put my friends back to work?
Right.
And I looked around and I saw a lot of trash on the ground, and this incredibly talented and underutilized workforce. And we decided to start helping them to collect and process plastic waste, and eventually turned it into fabric. So we started selling that fabric to big brands, and eventually I started realizing that the big brands weren't as good at sharing the story of recycled and sustainable materials as we thought they should be. And it's very, very much a story of, like, if you can't join them, beat them. So then the brand became.
Yeah, I mean, I love how, I mean, I don't know if you guys hired someone to do your copy or whether you did it yourself, but I love the fact that you said that, you turn plastic bottles into a shockingly sturdy wax canvas that will make you question almost everything. I mean, that is a bold statement, my friend, but that was awesome. Like, I mean, it really got a chuckle, and it's such a cool idea. Like, just to so 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 how do you proceed from that? Because I mean, that's the story you're talking about, which is uh, finding people dignified jobs, is really, I think, such an important ingredient which is missing from the whole aid discussion, right? Like, I mean, this is an e-commerce podcast, so I'd love to get into this, but I'm trying not to. But it's probably like one of the biggest criticisms of, the work people do in like continents like Africa, right? Like, you actually decimate the local economy by giving them free stuff, because then you're just making it so much harder for the local entrepreneur to compete. I mean, how do you compete against free? So I think that's hopefully more people are going to be inspired as linked to this, and however else they get to know you, to do more work like this in other countries that need it.
Well, I'll tie it back to e-commerce. Here's how. I think that e-commerce is based in 2020 not just on selling a product for the right price that looks good and does what we say it's going to do. I actually think that e-commerce's job in 2020 is to also create content. When you're an e-commerce provider, particularly in sectors like retail, you have a responsibility to creating an experience for your customers as much as you do to sell them a product. And the best stories are the true ones. And so for us, creating an e-commerce experience that people felt like they could rely on, that they could trust, that they want to come back to time and time again, that contribute to things like, if we want to make about numbers, contribute to things like lifetime value or average cart size. We think about these things as a means to help keep the flywheel going of the number of, the thousands now of people who are getting the chance to collect waste every day and earn an income. So we're not bashful about sharing our story, and we just want to make sure that it's true. So all of that work we do in the very bottom of the supply chain, what we call the first mile, has everything to do with the product that we share with our customers.